Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Next Man Up, where we have average guys sharing their average takes on all professional sports. I'm your host, Matthew Russo. I'm riding solo as the only host on the podcast today, but I have two brand new guests with me to talk about baseball. Really excited they could join us today. I have Ben Porpora with me. Ben, say hello to everyone.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
And I also have Joe Saldutti with me. Joe, say hello to everyone.
How's it going?
Really excited I could finally have you guys on, and we've been talking about doing this for a very long time. So I'm glad we actually got it together. We're going to tackle the MLB today, the first episode we ever done for the MLB. So I'm very excited to finally talk about baseball. Teams are reporting in less than a week for spring training. It's exciting stuff. I'm very excited because my team had a good offseason. Your guys' team had a good offseason. But we're going to start off with the team who's going to be the reigning champion of the year, which is the LA Dodgers. They have gone over the salary cap with the signing of Trevor Bauer, multiple opt-out years on a 3-year deal worth over $100 million. They have a bunch of 1-year arbitration deals. So I want to open the floor to you guys and ask you, is this team a one-and-done scenario, as in if they go and win the World Series, they never play on the same team again? Or are we looking at something that they're trying to build for like a 3 to 4 year dynasty of championships?
Ben, you want to go ahead or me?
I'll go. The Dodgers are not going anywhere anytime soon. That team is loaded. They've won the division literally, I think, 7 or 8 years in a row, and they finally got over the hump this year to win the World Series. But I don't think that team is. They just got Bauer. They have Walker Buehler sitting there. Kershaw's there. Urias is there. Dustin May is there. Like, pitching is loaded. Versatility in the infield. They got. I think they're going to bring back Justin Turner, but we'll see about that. But Cody Bellinger could play all over the place. Muncy plays all over the place. Like, this team has 2 good catchers. I think that's like the Yankees are good probably too, but the Dodgers are the cream of the crop. I would say best team in the league, and they're not going anywhere.
I completely agree. I mean, you have 2 of the top 10 players in Bellinger and Betts.
Yeah.
You got a all-star rotation now with the addition of Bauer. Infield's great. Seager's a stud. I think he's going to keep building off of last year. Muncy's a solid player. Bullpen's solid. You got Jansen, Joe Kelly, Blake Trinan. And they got some good farm system players too if they need to make a trade to improve the team or to call them up in the middle of the season. Like Ben said, I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon.
Matt, I will say one thing. Don't sleep on Kike Hernandez leaving and Jock Peterson leaving. Those two players have been there forever, and they were like a big part of that championship team. I think like if any team's going to overcome 2, good players, not great players, but definitely had a big role. So now Joe's right. That team is not going anywhere. They're going to be hopefully battling with the Mets for the best team in the NL. That's what the hope is, but they're definitely alpha.
Yeah. It's just I want to live in this world, right, where let's say they don't win, right? And this is why Bauer had, because his agent did what a fantastic job his agent did, because he's got to opt out whenever he wants. So let's say they don't win, right? They don't win, and Bauer says, "I want out. I came here to put a ring on my finger, and we didn't get the job done. I want to go somewhere else. Get me out." And with all the 1-year deals, and like you said, Jock left. They didn't want to retain him. They didn't want to retain Hernandez. They were crucial. So, like, I don't know. I definitely agree that they're a dynasty for years and years to come. But I want to live in this world where, like, Bauer put in those multi-year opt-outs for a reason. And it's let's get to the championship. And if we win, I'll stay. But if we lose, I don't stay. This whole back and forth. But
I can't speak for him, but the way his contract is set up, it's going to take like a terrible season for him to turn down. I think it's like 45 or 42 or $45 million in year 2 of that deal. But and like with Hernandez and Peterson leaving, I'm not sure if it was like the Dodgers saying we don't want you back. It's more like we don't need you back because they have like Joe said, prospects coming up. Like they need players to come up, and it's just like it's just gonna keep turning the table. Now like Bauer, he's gonna pitch well. Like as Mets fans, we want him to come, but like he's pitching so hot right now. Like we want like it was 12 starts, but it was so dominant that you couldn't not want him on your team. I think he's gonna pitch well. The Dodgers are gonna be good. He's gonna opt in, and it's gonna be tough to see. But
yeah, it's gonna be rough watching him perform
Yeah.
well if he does perform that well again. Yeah, money talks. He'll probably end up staying there. There's no way he should be turning around that kind of money. Like I said,
exactly,
all props to the agent.
most money in professional sports.
Yeah, crazy.
AAV.
I cannot believe that. But let's move on from the champs. We're gonna stay in the division real quick, just because two huge trades. Padres get Yu Darvish. They get Blake Snell. They're backing up a rotation, which was roughly, in a word, terrible a couple of years back. So now they're getting a little off. They have their offense. They have their defense. Do they have the ability to give the Dodgers a little bit of a problem during the regular season?
I think so. I think they can give them a run for their money. Personally, I'm not as big a fan of Blake Snell as other people may be. I think he's good, but I don't know if he's a number one starter for a championship team. Although he did pitch well in the World Series, and they unfortunately pulled him too early, costing him the game. They have a great young core. You got Tatis, you got Machado, Tommy Pham's back. They signed Kim from Japan. He's going to be pretty good. And Dinelson Lamet, I think he's their best pitcher still, with the additions of Yu Darvish and Blake Snell. But I think they will definitely compete with the Dodgers for the division. If not, they'll probably be the number one wild card team.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I see them. Well, I see them as a slam dunk for the playoffs. I mean, their core is too hot, and when they keep hitting like they did last season, I know it was a short amount of time, but they really looked so dominant with the bats when Machado and Tatis are hitting like they do. And now they got, I mean, Snell's not like you said, Joe, you're not too high on Snell, but he's definitely better, right? I mean, Darvish is better than what they've had. So like, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, maybe, who knows, maybe they get the Dodgers number just because they play them enough, especially this year with all the COVID implications. They're going to be playing everyone in conference more than they probably ever have. So we'll see. It'll be interesting, but we can move on to the more important topics for us, because we're going to go a little bit local. We are New York fans through and through with baseball, but we are split 2-1, me being outnumbered on the show. I have two guests here who are Met fans. Tough life for them. But Ben, I gotta ask you a question. Where were all the free agent signings you were chirping about?
We got to pump the brakes. I know we got to pump the brakes.
You got to pump those brakes, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, so on a serious note, though, I don't think they had a bad offseason. I think they had a really good offseason.
Yeah.
I'll open the floor to you guys, and because you guys are fans, so you've been following this ever since Steve Cohen's been linked to fucking buying the team. So please give me your analysis of how the Mets did during the offseason up until a week from camp.
It doesn't even feel real. The Wilpons, they get a terrible reputation. I don't know, like, obviously I don't know them personally. Joe doesn't know them, but like, just the way they went about it, it seemed like they were never all in. And New York is such a big market. Like, it never made much sense to Mets fans, and it got like frustrating. So now you got Steve Cohen coming in, and he was, talking the talk. Out of all the players that were available through free agency or trade, Lindor was the one that made me like, that would have been the most like happy of an acquisition that we could have made, and like, thank God. Like, I can't believe it. Like, when he takes the field, it's gonna be like a dream, honestly. But I don't know. A lot of people are like teasing the Mets fans, saying it was a disappointing offseason because of all the hype, but you still got Lindor. James McCann he's a good catcher, top 10 catcher in the league. Hits, catches the ball. Two center fielders. They say center field is an issue, but they got two center fielders who complement each other pretty well. Conforto hits. Alonso's going to hit. Dom Smith hits. I'm really, really excited, honestly. The bullpen's good, so it's a good time to be Mets fan. It's the best time for me and Joe so far in our lives, definitely. I think.
Well, it's really exciting, but going back to what you said, I mean, Steve, this is what Steve Cohen came out and said, right? He said, "We're not here to spend. I'm not going to spend like a drunken sailor. I'm going to spend smart. I'm going to spend the way I want to." And really, he didn't spend a whole lot. He's under the cap. He doesn't have to pay Lindor for an extension until next season, which I'm sure they'll get that done without a problem. I'm sure he's willing. He knows who he's trading for. That he will spend the money for, no problem. But he said, "I'm going to going in smart," and I mean, I assume smart with James McCann. Maybe they know something that we don't, that he's going to end up being really, really good. Joe, what did you think? Were you expecting a little bit more from Steve Cohen in terms of free agents, or are you satisfied?
In my opinion, it's the best offseason the Mets have had since I've been following the team 100%. I can't remember an offseason where we got a stud player like Lindor, who's, in my opinion, a top 10 player in the league, maybe top 20. Carrasco, great number 2, number 3 starter. McCann, defense is extremely important behind the plate. And the last couple of years with Wilson Ramos, we know we need a defensive catcher, and that's exactly what McCann is. Trevor May, he's good. I like him. He can either be the closer or a setup man, but he's reliable. And the biggest thing in the offseason was Cano getting suspended, because it gave them more salary flexibility for this offseason. And personally, I hope he gets another suspension and gets kicked out of the league.
He really that's the most team thing he's ever done. You realize that, right?
It is.
As a Met, yeah, it's the best thing that he's done.
It's the best team play thing he's ever done. He got suspended, and they got to spend his salary this year on other players.
Yeah. That $24 million was supposed to go right to LeMahieu, but it didn't work out like that.
Yeah. No. Speaking of LeMahieu, I'm gonna take that bone and run with it. The Yankees re-signed him. So I honestly think they have won right there. As soon as they did that, the offseason was a win, more than it would have been of a loss. But then they go out and they get Corey Kluber on a 1-year deal. I guess he's looking to do what Bauer is doing, but probably on a budget, go for a team who's going to contend and win, go to the playoffs and hopefully make a run. I think that's a good signing. $10 million. They had, I believe it was 22 or so that they could work with after signing LeMahieu, and what a signing that is, by the way. And I don't know if you guys heard about this, but the MLB is altering their baseballs because of the amount of home runs. So when you look at the money that LeMahieu got and what his baseball playing style is in terms of hitting, that's an even better deal, because he's not a home run hitter. He's a contact guy. So you just got a guy. It makes the deal a little bit sweeter, I think. But you get that. You get like I said, Kluber. They trade for Jameson Taillon, or whatever the hell that guy's name is, from the Pirates. The prospect that didn't play too much.
Tommy John.
Yeah, because he had Tommy John. But I think both New York teams have gone through the offseason with fantastic. It's definitely not a loss. I think both teams are going in with a win in the offseason. I think big wins, and I think playoffs for both of them, honestly. But in terms of where they end up in the playoffs, I want to open this question up. The NL East is going to be competitive, guys. The Phillies have Real Muto back, and with Bryce Harper. The Nationals are still poking around with their rotation and whatnot. The Marlins, for some reason, always give the Mets a problem. Do the Mets take the division this year, or is it working on maybe getting into the playoffs and then building from there, or is it, no, we're taking the division by storm?
As a fan, I want to say we're going to win the division, but it might be a little unrealistic. The Atlanta Braves are still the best team in the division, the team to beat. I mean, projections have them at 82 wins, but I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah,
they added Charlie Moore and Drew Smyly. Rotations are getting a little bit better. They
Soroka's
brought back Marcell Ozuna. Soroka's going to come back off of injury. I mean, I can't think of a player, like a big player, that they lost. I still think they're the team to beat.
Yeah, I agree with Joe. I want to say the Mets are going to win it, but the Braves don't get the respect they deserve. I think not even just like this year's Pacoda, but like even a few years back, like this team is honestly really, really good. He's only going to get better. Freeman is one of the most underrated players in the league, probably top 3 underrated. And that guy can hit anyone. He gives the best pitchers, like those hitters that can hit the best pitching. Those are the best hitters to me, and he's one of them. Alves can play, and I'm telling you, I'd be so pumped to say that if the Mets win the division, but no way. If I was betting, I would put my money on the Braves to still do
And
it.
the Braves were 1 win away from the World Series last year.
They were up 3-1 on the best team in the league,
Right.
and they blew it. But yeah,
I love how you said if you were betting, but you are not a betting man anymore, which I find so funny. No, but yeah, it's gonna be like no team. I mean, barred like maybe the Marlins has really like taken a step back. The Mets have improved. The Phillies have retained the player that they needed to retain for a crap load of money, but they still got him. The Nationals have their rotation intact still, so it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I think the Braves are the favorite, honestly. I mean, they've done nothing but improve in their offseason as well. That no team is really, like bar the Marlins, has not improved in that division. So it's going to be.
Our guy Travis d'Arnaud became Johnny Bench after we let him go.
Of course.
It's nuts.
Of course.
I want to dive into this because I'll go back to the Yankees in a sec because I want to talk about. I didn't really get to know the details about this trade, but Nolan Arenado got traded to the Cardinals, and so I'll gauge this question: is the Cardinals thinking to contend? Do they think they're serious contenders? Why are they making this trade for Arenado?
That NL Central division is so weak that if I was the Cardinals, I would be getting everyone I could because. If you look at the Cubs, doesn't seem like they're going for it. They're talking about trading Chris Bryant. They already traded Yu Darvish, and they haven't spent any money other than Jock Peterson, which we already talked about isn't that big of a deal. But the Brewers they're a small market. They didn't do a single thing this offseason. The Reds, they went for it, and it didn't work out. They lost Trevor Bauer. And the Pirates are like the worst team in the league. So you look at the Cardinals, and if you were them, you have to go for it because – if the division is there for the taking, you have to take it. So their problem was offense. They had Goldschmidt come in, he hit well, and now they have Arenado. That's going to be one of the best combos in the league, and I would put that as they're going to win that division for sure.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals made a good move trading for Arenado. They didn't really give up that much in terms of prospects. It was more of a salary dump for the Rockies. So it was a great deal for the Cardinals to make. And although the division is weak, I think that move puts them over the top in terms of that division.
Yeah, I mean, the dude's a stud. I mean, he's the best third baseman in the league. So there's no downside to trading for that. I mean, if you have a weak division like that, it makes a lot of sense. All right, we'll flip to the AL and we'll go back to the Yankees because this is a little fan coming out of me, but I think with the team that they have now, and because the AL, there's not really a lot of great contenders in the AL, it doesn't seem like, at least. I think the Yankees have to be a slam dunk for the ALCS this year. The team that they have together right now, the biggest problem is Gary Sanchez, but hopefully that's not the Achilles heel that ends up taking them out. Hopefully he ends up turning it around, but I'll open this to you. Besides the Yankees, who are we looking at for contenders? Because I see the Yankees really in a tier that's kind of above most of the teams in the rest of the conference.
I think the White Sox are probably their number one competition in the American League. They have a great young core. You got Luis Robert, Jose Abreu, Tim Anderson, Yoan Moncada. And they got a solid rotation. They brought in the best reliever in baseball in Liam Hendricks. So I think they're the favorite to win their division, and they'll give the Yankees a good series in the playoffs if they meet up.
Yeah, I think the White Sox are going to be pretty good. I don't know. The thing is, they haven't been there yet. I know they made the playoffs in that 60-game season, but I would look more at a team like Tampa Bay or Oakland who has been there before. And I know they don't have the big marquee names, and the Rays even just traded Snell, but those teams are so smart that they just always find a way to get in and give big market teams like the Yankees issues. But I would say like maybe the Blue Jays have a really good offense and they're young and exciting. But no, you're right, Matt. Like that, the Yankees are clear favorites for the AL pennant, honestly, this year.
I mean, yeah, the Red Sox are tanking, right? I mean, I don't want to say like it's a harsh word to put, but they're tanking. I mean, they
Big time.
Betts is gone, Benintendi's gone, Jackie Bradley's not getting re-signed. They are waiting, and this is what Boston does, though, right? Boston's done this before. They tank it all away so they can build it back up again. We've seen it done before. That's why they won the World Series. So, Boston's tanking. So let's say that the Rays, like you said, they always give a problem. So they'll probably end up slide. I think they'll go 2 in the division. The Jays will go 3. I don't think they're players. I don't think Biggio's there yet in terms of development. Vlad Jr. is going to have a great year, but I don't think it'll be enough with him and Springer to get the team over because they don't have a really great rotation either.
No, that's their issue. They don't have any pitching.
The Orioles are in the same boat as the Red Sox, except the Orioles never build anything. I mean, I feel so bad. Like I feel so bad. Like the Orioles don't even build to work up to something. They build to keep building, to keep building, to keep building. It's like ridiculous what happens.
The Orioles are I like the Orioles. Like their fan base, they have
I
a beautiful ballpark. Like if I was a Mets fan, I would say I'd be a Red Sox fan. But the Orioles are cool, man. I like the Orioles. That kid Adley Rutschman is gonna be so good. Wait, if he makes his debut this year, he's like must see. He's gonna be so good. The catcher, first overall pick. But yeah, you're right. They're not there yet, and it's funny because like the Red Sox, they're acting like how the Mets used to be before Steve Cohen. They're a big market, but they're not it. They're trading their best player, Mookie Betts, instead of signing him to a big contract. I mean, it's just like I don't know. Like these players don't come around like all the time. Mookie Betts, Lindor. So me and Joe are glad that the Mets are on the other side of that now. But it's funny to see.
Yeah, I mean, like it's what it comes down to is it's baseball, right? When you got a player like that, the money's going to have to be shown. When you don't want to do it, this is what happens. You have to trade away players like this. You have to go and do a 3-team trade to get Benintendi off your books. You have to go and not retain Jackie Bradley Jr. because you want to. And maybe they have some sense to it because like the Rays had a $60 million payroll and they're sitting in the World Series. So obviously they're doing something right with the analytics or the coaching or whatever. But money talks in baseball. Money talks in baseball. But that'll do it for this episode of Next Man Up. Please follow us on Instagram and Twitter at NextManUp05. Go download SportsMe and follow us at Next Man Up Sports Podcast. If you want to hear our voices, go to our Anchor where you can find us on Spotify and wherever you podcast. If you want to hear our voices and see our faces, you can like and subscribe to our YouTube. We don't have Nick here, so I'll just say like and subscribe. Guys, thank you so much for being on today. I'm so glad we got to do this baseball episode. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for tuning in and have a good one.